It's time for the Kim Hammer Show, where you'll learn how your state government affects you, your family, and community. Here's Kim Hammer.
Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great Saturday, and just want to welcome you to the Kim Hammer Show. As I always tell you, you can go up to thekimhammershow.com and keep up with everything that I think is important for you to know on the website, and follow on Facebook, all the other social media, and you go out there on the all the podcast platforms. Got you out there on Spotify, Apple, all the other ones are up and coming, and be able to catch this show or share it with your friends, kind of help promote it if you would. I would appreciate it. All right, today we got a really full show, so we're going to get right into it. I've got Mischa Martin, who is the director of DCFS. We had something come up in committee this past week that I thought it might be interesting for you to know. She's going to give us a brief update on that. And then she'll be followed by Renee Rogers, who is the Saline County Republican Women Treasurer, and she is going to talk about Constitution Camp that is coming up next week. And so we're going to have a visit about that. You've heard about it here on the show before, but it's in a little while ago, and it's a really good camp if you want to get your child educated, grounded in the Constitution. It's a fun week, and we'll talk with Renee here in just a little bit. And then on the last half of the hour, I'm going to have Matt Brumley, who is with the Amplified, which, if you haven't heard about that, it is the largest Christian concert, I believe, in the state. Matt can correct me on that if I'm wrong, and it is going to be coming up, and so I've got him on to talk about Amplified and all the guests that are going to be on there. And then at the end of the show, with time allow, I'm going to talk to you about a few things that happened this week at the Capitol that you may be of interest to you. Also, I want to make you aware that this coming Tuesday, I'll be filling in for Dave Ellswick on Tuesday morning from 6 to 8 and from 9 to 10. I can tell you right now that we are going to be talking about the topic of teacher salaries and everything that went on at the Capitol this week. We're going to talk about the matrix model. We're going to talk about some mental health. I've got a couple provider groups that are coming on that I think you'll be interested in hearing about their experiences. And so we'll have a full hour. Well, we'll have full 3 hours Tuesday morning, 6 to 8 o'clock, and then we'll take a break, and I'll be back on from 9 to 10, and that's this coming Tuesday. All right now let's go to Mischa Martin, who's joining us on the line here on 101.1 FM, The Answer, the Kim Hammer Show. And Mischa, thank you for taking time out to be on the show today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share our news from this week.
So it's dealing with foster parents, and I won't steal your thunder. Let me just let you tell the folks about what happened this week at the Capitol and the decisions we made involving foster parents. And let me let you go, and then we'll talk about it for a second.
Well, this week's decision is specifically about kids who are in foster care that are placed with relatives. And so I'm sure everybody knows that at the division, we have really been trying to ensure that if kids had to come into foster care, that their first placement is with a relative or something we call fictive kin, which is just someone in the community who has a strong connection. We've been super grateful. We've had lots of teachers, counselors who have opened their homes to take in who are in care that they knew. And right now, before this rule was approved this week, we were not able to pay to support those relatives, or what we call provisional foster parents. So we're super grateful and excited to announce that beginning in September, those relatives and fictive kin placements of kids in foster care are going to receive what we call a support payment of $240 a month to support those kids. And really, that's not enough, but right now they've just been opening their homes, taking in their relatives or the kids in their community that they know. And then, that can be a real struggle if in the middle of the night you get a call and you need to take in 3 kids or 4 kids or 5 kids sometimes, and they may come with little clothing. They might come with, little support from their home. So we wanted, and we really appreciate the support of the legislature and the governor, to begin paying them a support payment on a monthly basis. So it'll be every month moving forward. And then we also announced, as getting approval for that rule, we also announced that coming up in November, when we make our budget request, we are requesting a 10% increase for foster parent board payment. So the monthly support that our traditional foster parents get. They haven't seen an increase since 2009. And are in desperate need of additional support to raise those kids as they have just opened their homes to love and support them in their homes.
How many foster kids do we have in the state right now?
About 4,550 kids are in foster care.
And as far as placement, and I know there's always a shortage for foster homes, which what I would perceive that this is going to do is at least make it a little bit easier for individuals to open up their homes, especially that this is targeted toward relative and fictive kin sources. How much is this going to help close the gap? And well, let me back up. You got 4,550 foster children. How many homes do you have right now?
We have about open and licensed homes. We have about 1,600. It's actually closer to 1,700 open. Now that does include our relatives who are fully opened and licensed as foster homes. So you have this period where you open your home and you're not getting any type of support payment, and then once you become fully open, you do get what we call a board payment, a monthly payment. But we have about 700 kids a month that are in these provisional relative homes that up until September have not been receiving any type of monthly support payment to support those kids. So it is a big change, and we do see relatives who we know struggle financially. It's hard for them to take in their kids. Up until this has happened, we've had to assess on a case-by-case basis. Do you need gas? Do you need food to take in these 2, 3, 4 nieces and nephews? But now they'll be getting a support payment. So we do think that it'll be, incentive for a relative to say, you know what, okay, I can take them in the middle of the night. Like, I'm not going to have to worry about the fact that I'm going to have to figure out how to feed them in the next few weeks.
Sure. And how many homes are going to benefit from this, the relative placement homes that you have on record right now? About
700 a month. About 700 a month will start getting a support payment in September.
Okay, good deal. Well, and one reason I wanted to get that out is, and I want to get you back on the show and let's talk about foster homes again in the future. But, one of the things I wanted to get it out there for was that if you are a family or a relative and you know that you've got family members that are struggling, potentially you might, get some kids of a relative, and everybody would like to think, including me, that, people would recognize that and they'd be willing to take them without having to get any assistance. But if you have 2 or 3 kids that all of a sudden you're responsible for, there's a cost associated with that. And I will say I think this is, a good thing that can help those families be able to tie over until permanent arrangements can be made. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to get you on the show, to get that information out there if people didn't know it already. So do you have anything else? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, because we know that kids across the state are growing up with relatives. But I just want to make sure that your listeners know that, this is just for kids who are in foster care. So in DHS's custody, they had to be removed because they were in immediate danger. They're in foster care, and the relatives have been, open and are caring for those homes as a provisional placement. So we are real excited, and we are very excited that we will be asking for an increase in our traditional foster home board payment in the next few months. So stay tuned for that as well. And that'll apply to our adoptive parents who receive what we call a subsidy as well.
Let me ask you one other question. Do you think, or any gut feeling as far as how much this may, just the fact that you're doing this stipend payment, we'll call it, that it will increase relatives that may open up their homes and go through the foster care process, knowing that there'll be at least a little bit of financial assistance to carry them through?
We don't suspect a substantial increase, just because as an agency, we have really made a focus on even opening relatives who are having financial difficulties and figuring out how we can support them, whether, but it's been on a case-by-case, like gas cards, groceries, paying for, and this will just make it easier for them to know they have steady support. So we don't expect a substantial increase, but we do want, and our value is that if kids have a relative or fictive kin that they have a connection to, we want them to go there as a first placement if that relative or fictive kin is safe and appropriate. So we do hope there is an increase. Okay.
Or at least you keep from losing people, if nothing else.
That's right.
Okay.
I think that's the bigger issue is, we do have relatives who, after a few months, say, we just can't keep doing it. So we are hoping that this helps for retention of those families as well.
Okay, great. All right. Well, you've been listening to Mischa Martin, who's the Director of Children and Family Services for DHS. I'll get you back on the show. We'll talk more about foster homes and what the needs are at a time in the future, and I appreciate you being on the Kim Hammer Show.
Thank you, Senator Hammer.
You're welcome. Have a great day. All right, let's shift gears now. We're going to Renee Rogers, who is the treasurer for the Saline County Republican Women, and she is also involved behind the scenes as far as helping out with the upcoming Constitution Camp that is going to take place starting Monday. And so, Renee, welcome to the Kim Hammer Show.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. All right, so give folks an overview of what is the Constitution Camp and what are some of the things behind it that you think are important to stress.
Well, the Constitution Camp is...
Do me a favor, pull that a little closer. You're one of those soft-spoken
Am I one of
guests. Yeah, there you go. All right,
Okay.
Go ahead now.
Okay. It's for kids 2nd grade through the 9th grade, and it's kind of a vacation Bible school style camp where it's a half day where we go through skits and they have lessons, and there are memory exercises where the children gain points through memorizing different items. Memory works. On my sheet here, we've got 5 points for the preamble to the Constitution. They get points for the Bill of Rights and so forth. They get stars that we put on a lanyard that they keep during the week, and at the end of the week, then they accumulate their points for the stars. They get to go to the Constitution store where we have items that we've purchased from donations, and they get to go shopping according to how many points they get. And it's very popular, and it really encourages them to learn and memorize some very important basic information that they'll need the rest of their life.
Sure, it gives them incentive to kind of like the shopping store.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
there's
It's real popular.
Yeah, what's in the store? I might want to come.
Well,
I am coming, actually, but-
it's I'm not sure exactly. I know many drones have been mentioned.
Oh,
So,
I'm in. Okay. You may have just exploded your camp, but
maybe.
those are the good toys. So.
yeah, I got some good toys.
All right. Well, let me ask you. Part of the camp is about teaching the philosophical ideologies that shaped America's founding documents. I know some of that's achieved through some of the skits. Just the interactions of people that are going to be guests at the camp. When it comes to the philosophical ideologies that shaped America's founding documents and what the camp is going to be doing to teach that or educate kids in that, what are some of the philosophical ideologies do you think that might be mentioned? I notice that some of it is you're going to introduce them to people such as, Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, some other key people that, played a vital role in shaping those philosophical ideologies. But as far as, what's going to be the core group of what you hope the kids walk out of there with, what would some of those things be?
Oh, goodness. You've got me at a loss for words. There's
That's-
so many.
That's all right.
There's so many ideas that we hope they come away with.
Well, I know, like, for example, you're going to have the Declaration of Independence. That's going
Yes.
to be a focus point. The United States Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Federalist and the Anti-Federalist papers that, recognize how founding fathers included the concept of American liberty and greatness in our founding documents. Now, last
Yes.
time I was there, y'all had some actors or some people dressed up in roles. Are y'all going to have that again this year?
There's going to be some. I don't know if it's going to be as many, but they still plan on doing that. And my understanding also is there's going to be a group come in and do a demonstration on the proper way to fold and handle the American flag.
Flag etiquette.
And yes,
That's great.
yes, that'll be very interesting. I wish I could be there
Yep.
that day for
Well,
that.
Yeah, and I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but there's a lot of thought process that goes in behind how you fold the flag. And unfortunately, we live in a day and an age with a segment of the society that don't have the appreciation for the flag and what the flag represents and what it means. I think it's a great thing that y'all are going to take kids 2nd grade through 9th grade and make sure that they're exposed to that, because if you don't respect the flag, then you don't respect what the flag stands for.
Yes.
So
Yes.
bottom line, if you don't respect the flag, you don't respect what the flag stands for, and that's going to be one of the good things I think about the camp is, what you're going to be teaching them about.
Yes, yes. We want them to learn about our foundations, why we do the things we do, and how important it is that they grow up with these beliefs and don't just go through the motions, but incorporate it into their daily lives and understand how everything else that they do is affected by these foundations.
I notice you got some special guests too, something dealing with the blow-up dinosaur costume. Is that, anything about that you can share?
I saw pictures of the Leviathan last year, and I think he was very popular.
Yeah, he was. He was. Kids can identify with that.
Very popular, he is.
Jennifer Lancaster, I know, is kind of one of the brain thrusts behind all of this, and she couldn't be with us today because work obligations, but I know that she'll be there. She's very proficient. Had her on the show before. She's very proficient in, teaching everything that the Constitution Camp is supposed to drive home to the kids. And to me, that is one of the things that's important is that with kids being exposed to so many different ideas about our country, some good, some not so good from all different sources, it'll be a good thing for them to be able to go to a place where they're going to be concentrated just on the values of the importance of the Constitution and how it plays out in life today. Now, you guys are going to have some skits. I know each morning after after they get the skits done, there'll be, and all the skits have purpose. I mean, they're not just for play. They are actually teaching points that after they're done, someone's going to explain the importance behind what the skits were intended to teach, the ideologies, and be available to answer questions. So it will be a very interactive camp for the kids with the instructors.
Yes,
Okay.
they'll have little breakout sessions and they'll questions and answers, and I think it's a pretty full schedule, and there's constant interaction.
That's great.
You're not just left reading alone. It's very, very involved and hands-on.
And I know through the skits and the games, the discussion, the kids are actually going to participate in reading the Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Federalist and the Anti-Federalist Papers, and that'll help them recognize how the Founding Fathers included the concepts of American liberty and the greatness in the founding documents. So, I mean, the fact that they're going to be exposed to those critical documents, and then you have individuals that will come in and speak about that and interact with them to help them understand the value and the importance.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, that'll be very, very educational and entertaining.
Yeah.
And we hope that they really soak it in and have the ammunition that they need when they hear bad information or someone that doesn't like our Constitution, that they can maybe tell them why it's important.
And that's critical. You bring up a good point because that's critical. I call it apologetics, where you're able to stand and defend your faith. In the same manner, we want kids out there that are equipped that when they do hear things in different settings that are not right, that they have, as you said, the ammunition, or at least they have the knowledge to be able to counter some of those arguments and be able to say, no, here's the way it really is.
Yes.
And I think that's missing in great part today because if you are a child who is maybe in an environment where you're subjected to authority and this is being said and you don't have that knowledge base, or you don't have maybe the platform for freedom of speech, which is within itself a violation, it's going to be good that the kids that will go through the Constitution Camp at least are equipped, educated, and hopefully inspired to go out there and represent what is the truth about these things.
Yes, because otherwise, where else are they going to hear it?
Exactly. Well, they're going to hear it from sources that aren't going to be accurate.
Yes, that's true. They're not going to hear the true story.
Yeah, and I think we're experiencing that in our society today, a lack of education of that. One of the highlights of the camp, you got a lot of special guests coming in this year. Last year, the kids had the opportunity to take pictures with Supreme Court Justice Barbara Webb and Iverson Jackson. Iverson's been on the show before. He's a great guy.
Iverson is going to be returning.
Very good. He is he is excellent.
Oh, he is. He's a wonderful speaker.
Yeah, and he interacts with the kids well.
He's
He's a big
good.
kid himself, is what he
Yes.
is. But so Pastor Iverson Jackson will be there. Is who else is coming back as special guest?
Oh my goodness. I think most people are coming back.
Tim Griffin was on there last year.
Now, I don't know exactly if he's coming
Okay,
or not.
I know that I'm going
I
to be
think
there.
I really recently saw an updated list, but I don't remember all the names. I should have written
That's
them
all
all
right.
down.
That's all right.
I think it's been an evolving
Ongoing,
list and
yeah.
ongoing, and every time we know how many kids we have, we get a
Updated list.
updated
So
list. And
how
I
many-
think I'm not sure if we held it under the 100 that we were trying to cap it.
Sure.
We may have been a little over.
Yeah, that was my next question. How many you got signed up for the camp right now? Do you know?
I don't have an exact. I think just cut it off, and the last I looked, we were already close to 100, and that was a few days ago.
Okay. All right. Well, you may have missed it this year, folks.
We-
Sorry about that. But
You
you-
missed it.
Yeah, well, and
We've got but bigger and better next year.
and
Plan ahead.
yeah, and that's. I mean, this is one of those things because y'all just started this last year, year before last. It's
Last year.
last
first.
year. And I remember coming to it. I mean, the kids were a buzz, man. I mean, they were energized, they were engaged, they were soaking it up like a sponge, you know. So even if somebody can't get in, and let me just ask you, and maybe you don't have the information, or you can send me a message through my social media. I'll try to get it to it. But is there a contact number in case maybe there's some no-shows or anything like that, or somebody a way they could reach out to y'all?
Jennifer, and through our website, the Saline County Republicanwomen.com,
Okay.
we have a message link and contact. So everything goes through the info at SalineCountyRepublicanWomen.com. I get a copy of that. Jennifer gets a copy of that, and we'll get you answered.
Okay. Well, even if they can't get in, it'd be good to be on the
Yeah,
list.
we're on Facebook.
All right, give it again. Saline County Women.
SalineCountyRepublicanWomen.com.
Okay, there you go. That's how you can find out more information about it, see if there's an opportunity for you to be able to get your child in at second grade through ninth. Where's it going to be held this year?
The Geyer Springs First Baptist Church.
Okay, very good. You should have ample room over there, so we appreciate them opening that up.
Yes, we really appreciate them
That's great.
giving us some space. And at the final day, we're going to take the kids on a tour of the Capitol.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to be meeting y'all that morning at 9 o'clock.
Oh, great.
Yeah, Friday morning at 9 o'clock, you're going to come up and get the tour of the Capitol, which kids always enjoy.
I'm going to try to be there that day. I'm going to try to be there Monday morning to help the first rush, and then I'll be there Friday
That's
to
great.
help along with the tour.
That's great. I also noticed that when the camp ends on Friday, it's not only a tour of the Capitol, but it's going to be followed by a party with water slides, bouncy house, snow cones, and more.
Yes.
You guys are going to make it a fun week. Put a big exclamation point on the end of it.
Yeah, it's hot times. We got to have the water slides and the bouncy house, and
Cool.
yeah.
Cool. Well, you got some great sponsors. I'm looking at your list. You got some really great sponsors that have been picked up, and hopefully, do you
Yes.
need more sponsors, or are you guys
We
sitting here?
always need more sponsors. This is quite an ordeal in trying to make it get the good resources we've had. It's an expense.
Yep.
It's an expense, and
Okay,
we
so
always welcome.
so if somebody wanted to sponsor, they could go through the website.
Yes, we also have a link sponsorship
Great.
online. We make it easy.
Great.
We have a great website.
Good. All right. Well, I've got to wrap it up for the break. I appreciate you being in. It's Renee Rogers with the Saline County Republican Women,
Yes.
the treasurer. And next coming in is Matt Brumley, which if you're watching Facebook Live, you see Matt walking in and getting seated right now. So when we come back from the break, we're going to talk to him about Amplified, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Christian concert in the state of Arkansas. And he's going to fill us in who's going to be here. Renee, thank you for being here. I'll see you next week, maybe at the Capitol or
Yes.
somewhere during the week, and I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll take a break here from the Kim Hammer Show and be back in just a second. You did good, Hey, welcome back to the Kim Ham Show. If you're watching Facebook Live, sorry about that interruption there. You got a free show there during the halftime break. Sorry about that. But anyway, all right, Matt Brumley, glad to have you in studio here for the Kim Hammer Show today, and I appreciate you driving in to be on it. So
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, man. You doing okay?
I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I don't ask a lot of people, but I'm going to stick with I'm doing great.
Well, you just had something big happen in your life recently, didn't you?
A few things. Are you speaking of the first time I've ever run for political office turned out well?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm the Saline County judge-elect.
How about that?
Thanks to the Saline County voters and a lot of supporters. So we're very excited about that, and I'll go into that office January 1st.
Very good.
Yeah.
Already preparing for it, I'm sure.
Absolutely. There's such a great team in that area, and they want you to come in and learn. And trust me, I got a lot to learn.
Yeah, and you'll learn a lot January 1st when all those calls shift from Jeff Airy to you. So.
That's right. I think he's looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think he's probably counting the days, and he'll pat you on the back.
Absolutely.
And he's been a great county judge, in my opinion. I mean, he's leaving you well positioned to take it to the next level.
You know, and that's a great challenge. There's been 20 years of fantastic judgeship in Saline County.
Don't screw it up.
Yeah, so it's like, man, I got to hold this thing together and keep going forward. So what a great opportunity, and you're right, on the shoulders of some great men, and they're there for us.
Yep.
So
well, and you got a great support staff. I mean, you're walking in with great staff. I mean, all the men and women down there, they just and we're blessed in Central Arkansas to have a lot of good county judges, a lot of good structure. It's I wouldn't want your job. I'll put it that way. Some people don't want my job, but I sure don't want your job. So
okay,
I'll be glad to support you, so I don't have to run against you. I bet. All right, man. Let's talk about something better. Let's talk about Amplified. Okay?
Yes.
So what is Amplified for anybody that may be living out there in a cave that hasn't heard about it? Tell them what Amplified is.
So Amplify started in 2012. Actually, it started on the 4th of July week, and we with our creative minds started Amplify with the name God and Country. And it was a great event, but it was fairly small. We had one headliner that anybody had ever heard of. It was a band called Cutlass. A Christian music festival, a 2-day festival, and it was held on the old Saline County Airport, which at the time was split between Holland Chapel Church and the city of Benton. Mm-hmm. And so it was great. It was two guys that had a vision for that, something to happen on that property, and it took place, and it was small scale, but long story short, over the last 9 years, God has grown that to something that has become one of the nation's largest Christian music festivals. And it's more than a concert. Mm-hmm. Our mission, our scripture that we go off of is Psalms 34:3. Let's exalt his name together. And we just know that when we get together, not a church, we understand that it's property behind Holland Chapel Church. We just haven't found another church in the area that has an old airport behind it. Mm-hmm. That's why it's there. But it's not about a church, it's about the church. And now 18, what we consider visitors is when 10 or more come from one state or area. And so our last Amplify event, we had 18 different states and 2 countries represented where 10 or more people came from those areas to exalt his name together. Over 2 days with some of the best artists that are out there, but also it's free. It's 100% free to those who want to attend. And we want to break down any barrier for somebody to say, hey, come on out here. Well, that's kind of a religious thing or a God thing, and maybe I'm not that. It's not just a religious thing. It's a bunch of people that follow Christ and say, hey, we want you to come have fun with us. And maybe in that time you find yourself at a prayer tent being able to talk to somebody about some challenges that you have. And our belief is, no matter what your challenge or what your struggle is, we got the cure for it, and it's Jesus. And we hope that people that attend that look everywhere, and we always keep the main thing, and that's the love, grace, and mercy of Jesus, and people see that.
And I think that's why God's blessed it. I mean, honestly, sure, it may have started off small. Everything that usually turns into something successful does. But look at where you are now. And last year's attendance, or your peak attendance over the years, has been what?
Our peak attendance has been right at 65,000 people over 2 days. And you're right. God's blessed that. That is, hey,
That's
if
God.
people knew the knuckleheads behind the scenes, and that's no disrespect to any of my friends or people that help us, but there's no answer other than God is blessing this thing. And it's extremely challenging, and we need people to help us. I would encourage people to just check out what we're doing on social media or Facebook at Amplify Fest, or go to amplifyfest.org. If you want to be a part of it, I said it's free, and this isn't a sales pitch, but if you want to be a part of this ministry, what you're doing by saying, we say claim your own prize. Zero is an option for coming. But you can also put in, I'll pay $5 a ticket, or I'm bringing a youth group and we'll pay $1 a head or whatever. That money doesn't go to anybody. There is not one paid individual on this staff. It's 100% volunteer. We want to further the kingdom and let people know that, man, Jesus loves you. And this is a way that we want to do that.
I'm a volunteer in the prayer tent. I got a call the other day, so there are plenty of opportunities for people to volunteer. So talk about the options of volunteerism, because I know you got John 3:16. They come down, they help set up that massive stage. Man.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, that is like a Garth Brooks stage we're talking about.
It is. So yeah. Rock City Staging is one of our partners, and man, they do such an amazing job, but you have to put that stage together. Mm-hmm. And that's tough, and it takes us all week until John 3:16 Ministries came along. Those guys just working fast forward.
Yeah.
And so John 3:16 Ministries is one of our primary ministry partners.
Hey, time out for a
yeah.
minute. Tell people what John 3:16 is. I know a lot of my listening also probably does, but for those that don't, just by a line.
John 3:16 Ministry, they call themselves a boot camp for men with addiction. They say that they don't offer treatment, but they offer the cure, and the cure being Jesus. Here's an opportunity that some of your listeners will have this Saturday at John 3:16 Ministries in Charlotte, Arkansas, which is 11 miles east of Batesville. A guy by the name of Matthew West is coming for an event called Freedom Fest. I would encourage people to go there, but here's what I would really encourage people to do. If you know somebody that's struggling with alcoholism, substance abuse, any of those things, and you've tried and tried and tried, and nothing seems to work, go to John 3:16 ministriesthecure.com. John 3:16 ministriesthecure.com. I have seen miracle after miracle after miracle. This guy's got no shot, but let Jesus have a shot at him. And when they do, they walk out of there a changed man. Mm-hmm. They're a primary ministry partner for a reason. And there's going to be people that show up on Amplify grounds that are saying, no, I'm not worth anything. I got no hope. And there's going to be about 100 guys that are the picture of hope that is transformation in a redeemed man that anybody can be. And John 3:16 Ministries provides that because God blesses them, and there's about 220 men living there for free right now who are healed because of him.
Yeah, they're an army when they show up.
Oh, my goodness.
And I mean, they all work cohesively together to get the job done, because back to the stage business, it is no small effort to put everything on, which, if I remember right, and I'm not sure what you guys got, going on this year, but I know y'all kind of like a play zone for the kids. Y'all got
Yeah. Last year we were unable to do that, but this year, man, it's back. So, there's going to be food trucks. There's going to be rides and bouncy houses and all of those things. There's going to be all sorts of attractions that are there. And then, of course, we've got people from Casting Crowns to Danny Goki to so many more artists that are coming in.
Have you got the artist list with you?
I do.
Okay,
I do,
read off the artist list.
These are the ones that people, and as you drive around and you see our billboards that are going up, man, give us a like and check us out. But on Saturday night, our headliner is Casting Crowns. They were with us in 2018, and we're so excited to have them back.
Yeah.
They say, hey, we're not part of your ministry day in, day out. We look at ourselves as coming in and not running the marathon with you, but we want to do a lap around the track with you. And they mean it. They are just an amazing group of Jesus following folks.
Okay, hey, wait a minute now. There, you got Friday night and Saturday night.
That's right.
Give us the times real quick.
Okay, our gates will open at 3 o'clock on Friday.
Okay.
And they will open at 1 o'clock on Saturday.
Okay.
Things typically end around 10 o'clock or a couple minutes before. But yeah, get there. You are going to have the time of your life. I think you're really going to be surprised at the people you're going to meet and the talent you're going to see on that stage.
And Casting Crowns is there Saturday night? Or Friday?
They're there Saturday night. Friday night headliner is Danny Goki. Danny Goki appeals a lot to some younger and middle-aged crowd, and I think he was like top 3 or something in American Idol a number of years ago, but his career has really taken off, and again, I believe that God has blessed that. Also, on Saturday, we're going to have Cochran and Company, and you can see all of this at amplifyfest.org. And then a gentleman by the name of David Leonard. David Leonard was one of the 2 in the band All Sons and Daughters that some of your listeners may be familiar with, and he is just phenomenal. And then a young lady by the name of Riley Clemens will be there Saturday night. Also, I have gotten more text messages saying, we've got to meet Riley. So I know she's got a lot of fans out there. You can hear her on K-Love. All these artists you're going to be able to hear on mainstream Christian music. And then we're going to have some local talent also. A band by the name of Crutchfield that people have seen at Magic Springs. They open for everybody, Crowder, for King and Country, all of those people. They're out of Hot Springs. They're fantastic. And a number of other bands. There's one called Goodfoot. It's a bunch of, a guy from Rascal Flatts put these guys together. And they love music and they love Jesus. And it's kind of last year we had Zach Williams. It's more of a soulful, bluesy sound. And I think people are really going to enjoy it. But you can go see the rest of the lineup again at amplifyfest.org. And everybody you see from that stage is going to have a message. It is going to be encouraging to you. And this is a little bit different than going to an arena to see a band with all of those fans. I'm telling you, if you're a Jesus follower, somebody asked me one time, how many Christians do you think are out there? And I said, man, I hope a bunch of them. But what I really hope is that the lost come out there. Those who may not step into church walls right off the bat, but they feel welcome to come out there and they learn, hey, you are welcome wherever it is that Jesus wants you.
But you know, it's also, you got the Christians out there, you got the lost out there. But you know, sometimes people just need to be in an encouraging environment. And you know, even if you don't have a personal relationship with Christ, maybe you've fallen out of church and you need to reignite. It is a good place to come to reignite and reconnect, and then find your place in your local church and have that opportunity to be around what is, if for lack of a better term, putting off some very positive spiritual vibes, you know, because, by the way, you can hear that thing from like 3 miles away.
Hey, and that's part of our prayer, too, that somebody's listening on their front porch, you know, that may be down in their dumps.
Yeah.
And we have those stories, just amazing, crazy stories. It's like, I had no idea. I mean, one guy came in there, he likes music. He was coming back from the total eclipse a number of years ago from Missouri, and he needed to stop off at a rest stop. He did. He said, what's going on across the street? He said, some music festival. He said, I like music. I'm going to go over there. I'm tired of driving. And he came in, and he just like, what is going on? He ends up getting a room. He ends up in the prayer tent, meeting people that he still communicates with. He's from Dallas, and he comes back every single year. Yes, what you said is so true. It's an encouraging environment. It's a good family environment. It's free. It's a good price. And also, it is what community is. All of the law enforcement officers that you see out there, they're there because they want to be there, not because they're being paid to be there. And that goes from Arkansas Game and Fish to the Highway Department to the State Police to the Benton to the Bryant to the Saline County Sheriff's Office. We meet with all of those people, all the law enforcement and public safety fire departments next week at the Saline County Sheriff's Office. Our Sheriff Rodney Wright kind of puts that together. And that in itself, man, what a great ministry it is to them. And when I say that, I'm not trying to be hyper spiritual. I'm just saying for people to get together and the law enforcement officers saying, you know what, this weekend was good for me. Yeah.
They get encouraged.
They do.
And God knows our law enforcement needs encouragement right now.
That's exactly right.
Have you reached the point to where big name groups or any groups at all are reaching out to you and saying, hey, we want to come? I mean, it's not so much, there's a point where it's not so much about you calling them as much as it is they're calling you saying, hey, we want to, like you said a while ago, we want to be part of this. Reach that point yet?
I want to be real transparent. This isn't easy. Putting this thing together isn't easy at all. And this year, it took a lot of prayer. I had a lot going on. We talked a little bit about that. There's just a lot going on. We've had some speed bumps in events. Everybody has. It's put on events. And we were contacted by Casting Crowns, and they said, we're coming this year. And I said, well, hold off. We're not really solidified on dates. And they said, well, you'll pick one and we'll be there.
Okay, there you go.
They kind of bullied us into having this thing. And when I say that tongue in cheek. I mean, it was a message we needed to hear.
Yeah.
That, hey, what you're doing, and I want to say this, Melanie, who is the lead singer's wife, Mark's wife, she told us last time they were here, said, Matt and Josh, keep doing what you're doing no matter how hard. If it weren't hard, I'd be worried about it.
Yeah.
But last night we laid in bed and prayed for you guys by name. Now, there's probably some pride and selfishness in her telling me that and the way I received it. But I thought, man, these people aren't doing this as another gig or another show. They're doing this
Kingdom work.
It is kingdom work, and they are real. And so it's an honor to be just a small part of that, but we want everybody to be a part of that. And just let you know that on August 19th and 20th, starting at 3 o'clock on August 19th, please come. Bring your kids. We have a gentleman by the name of Jason Curry who will be giving the gospel presentation both days on the 19th and the 20th. So please, bring your family, come out to Amplify Fest and check us out at amplifyfest.org.
How many volunteers you got in this?
I would say we probably have about 400 volunteers. A number of ministries, John 317 Ministries, Renewal Ranch will be out there, and then community members at large just are out there saying, hey, we want to give what we've got.
Okay. And one good thing about the site location, if people don't know this, easy to get on, easy to get off, and plenty of parking and wide open space. And that is one good thing about the venue, as far as the location and everything. You get off there at the 116.
116, that's right.
Yeah, get off the Sevier Street exit 116 and just come on down the service road and if nothing else, follow the music. You won't have any trouble hearing it. Follow the music. I did hear some stories last time about people driving down the interstate because it does, county fair happens right there. That's easy. But, man, when people around that corner coming from Texas and they see that big old stage behind the church, it is an attention getter for sure.
It is. You're right. Right there off I-30 next to the Saline County Fairgrounds. Come out and see us for sure.
All right. We got a few minutes left, but let me ask you about this because you mentioned about the prayer tent a while ago. One of the things that people need to know is that if they are going through a tough time in life and they need to get in a positive environment, and they show up there, and the Holy Spirit moves like He does, and He convicts like He does. And if people, maybe they got marital problems, family problems, job problems, suicide thoughts, addiction issues, whatever the case may be, when they step in that prayer tent, talk about the experience of stepping into the prayer tent, and also the safety and reassurance that if somebody comes there and they get convicted and they need somebody to open up to, the confidentiality that occurs in the prayer tent.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's really where it's at. just real quickly, on our social media page, you'll see a 3.5-minute video. Doesn't talk about one band. It talks about our volunteers who serve and why they serve in the heart of Amplify, and it's for life change. Let's get real. There's some hurting people. I'm one of them. My hurts may not be the same as somebody else's, but man, we need some people to talk to. Isolation is a really tough spot to be, so to be able to go in and feel that I'm in a safe place, I'm not going to be judged because of my problems, and I have somebody to talk to. We underestimated the number of people that would take advantage of that opportunity year one. Year two, we said, hey, we need people. Yes, we need people to pray with, but we also need people, and we have licensed counselors that are available there. And then, as we already spoke, we have outlets, whether it be for counseling or whether it be for rehabilitation of some sort of addiction. We have those resources that are readily available there. You know, on a day-to-day basis, I work with some people that are peer recovery support specialists. They're going to be there. These are people that have been down the same road. Yeah, somebody can tell me about their meth or heroin addiction, and I can say, man, you have value, and it's bigger and greater than the addiction that you're in, but I can't tell you that I've been through that. But to have a peer there that says, man, I have been there, I have defeated that, and let me walk with you as you go through the same thing that I went through to be delivered from it. That prayer tent is where life change happens. A lot of that happens just out on the grounds. We got people just walking around in Amplify prayer team shirts that somebody will grab and say, hey, let me tell you about what I'm going through. There is nothing that you are going through that is too big. There's nothing that you are going through that you need to be ashamed of. You need to share it. You need to share it with the right people, and you got the opportunity to do that today, but you also have the opportunity on the weekend of the 19th or the 20th, or maybe you have a friend that you're like, hey, they need some encouragement, and they need this opportunity. So we pray that you take advantage of that at Amplify on the 19th and the 20th.
And one of the important things, I think, in everything you just said, one is safety physically by a large presence.
Yes.
As far as, security is a good thing. Safety physically, also, you're going to have plenty of EMS support staff because, to be honest with you, August 19th is typically a hot day, and maybe God will show grace and get it down.
We're confident he will.
Yeah, get it down at least below 90, Lord.
Yeah.
So you'll have plenty of EMS staff there, but also spiritual safety, because people need to know that if you get there and you need to open up, it's not going to become a social media post. It's going to be a confidential thing, because the staff that you'll have in the tent are trained staff. And in talking to somebody last week, you got some professionals that hang out in that tent that deal with some heavy stuff on a regular basis.
Yes.
And maybe somebody just needs a doorway in to a pathway of help. Next week's show is about mental health, and one of the issues that we face today is the stigma of somebody that has a mental health issue, and where do you go to get help, and how do you get your foot in the door, kind of thing.
Right.
So I would just encourage you to come and listen to what will be some good, positive, spiritual, music in a positive environment, and just know that if you do show up and you need help, there's resources there to be able to help you.
It's there.
It's there.
And if you just want to come and have a good time, it's there also.
Yeah. I remember last year people were having a good time.
That's right.
And I mean, my gosh, on Saturday night, from the stage to the back of where the crowd was, I don't know if you put a tape measure to it, but you're almost to the binocular level of having to see who's on stage. So
that's right.
Bring your own lawn chair, right? No seating.
Bring your own lawn chair, blanket, whatever it is that you want. Yeah, we do not provide seating other than ground.
Right.
So there's an area where people standing room only can dance around if they want to. There's plenty of room to spread out. So come enjoy yourself for a great night, Benton, Arkansas, August 19th and 20th.
Will people be allowed to bring their own coolers and stuff, or are y'all prohibiting that? I think it's important for people to know.
Yeah, absolutely. We do not allow outside food or drink or coolers into the event. There's plenty of places you can go. We do have free water stations there also, and you can come in and out as you please. So if you need to run to your car for something, then that's fine.
Okay, good to know, because you wouldn't want somebody showing up at the You wouldn't want somebody showing up at the gate with a big old cooler. And what about pop-up tents? Allowed, not allowed?
There's one area that pop-up tents are going to be allowed.
Okay.
It's along the fence line there on Air Lane.
Yeah.
There's probably about 20 that can go.
Okay. First
right
come,
there.
first serve?
First come, first serve. That's right.
Okay. Anything else about Amplify you'd want to tell the public?
Again, go to amplifyfest.org. If you are interested in being a sponsor or supporting this in any way, please reach out to us, send us a message. We sure do appreciate everybody that shows up, and we look forward to this year, August 19th and 20th.
That's great. Matt, thanks for being on the Kim Hammer Show today, talking about Amplified. One more time, in case I didn't hear it, what's the website they need to go for further information?
Amplifyfest.org, amplifyfest.org.
Will you allow, what's the back, real quick, I'm down like a minute or less, what's the background check for somebody that just say, hey, I want to volunteer? They got to go through a process or what?
You fill out a form. It's on at amplifyfest.org. Vendors, volunteers, everybody can sign up there.
Very good. All right. You have been listening to the Kim Hammer Show today. Encourage you to go up to the podcast sites and you can share it, or go up to my website, thekimhammershow.com. Remember that this coming Tuesday, I'll be filling in for Dave Ellswick on Dave Ellswick from 6 to 8 o'clock, and then from 9 to 10, we're going to be talking about the teachers' raises and all sorts of good stuff that happened last week at the Capitol, along with some other things involving, got a couple of segments of mental health and some provider groups I think you'll be encouraged to hear about, especially if you're looking for some help. Thanks for joining me here on the Kim Hammer Show. Have a great Saturday.
All right.
Thank
you.
Sorry.